Jambo. Somebody has asked me why Gachagua seems to be having a problem with Jubilee, with Uhuru, and with Matiang'i. I'm sure if you ask him, he'll tell you he has no problem with them. But today he made a very interesting comment somewhere he was, and he was making fun about candidates who are expecting to win the presidency by putting posters online and writing the 6th. The other day, when he was on Kerembe, he made a comment about people who are waiting for him to do the heavy lifting and bring him the votes. And every casual political observer knows that the person Gachagua is jabbing, specifically, is Matiang'i, generally, Uhuru. Essentially, the fight Gachagua has had with Uhuru had just simmered when he was pretending to apologize. And it's come back to the fore. And I say that for this reason. When Gachagua was attacking Uhuru last term, it wasn't a mistake. He knew exactly what he was doing. When he was insulting Uhuru and he was insulting Uhuru's mom, when he became when he became deputy president, and he insulted and attacked Uhuru during the swearing in, the organization of the stealing of sheep to Uhuru's mom's farm, that was Gachagua sending a message to Uhuru Kenyatta. First, during the last term when Uhuru was president, Gachagua wanted to show Uhuru that he had now come of age. And he was literally enthroning him or dethroning him from the leadership of the Mount Kenya region by force. He was taking over that leadership, right? So when UDA won and Ruto became president, Gachagua was very clear in his head that the first thing he was going to do is become the king, Mudhamaki, of the Mount Kenya people. The threat that he saw ahead of him was Uhuru Kenyatta. The attack during the swearing-in was a very strategic decision by Gachagua to try and put down Uhuru before the world, before the nation, and before the region. He wanted to show everybody, and especially Uhuru himself, that now I'm the one in power, I'm the one in charge. Some of us actually got pulled into this mistake, because we assumed in a transition, and despite our best efforts, Gachagua is now the most senior politician for the region. And we thought that maybe it's important for us to mobilize, to support him for the sake of the community. Even people like myself who had suffered under Gachagua's hands, by having him politically mobilized for me to lose my position as Member of Parliament of Nyeri, thought for the sake of the community, we'll take a humble pie and go and help him. In retrospect, that was a mistake. Gachagua is very deliberate, even when he's hurting someone. When he attacks Matiang'i, it is not a mistake, it's not a slip of the tongue. Gachagua's biggest problem with Matiang'i is that Matiang'i is the only candidate in the opposition as we see it who can actually come to Mount Kenya by himself and be accepted and received without the blessings of Rigathi Gachagua. Think about it. For Kalonzo to come to Mount Kenya, Gachagua must bring him. For Eugene to come to Mount Kenya, Gachagua must bring him. Even for Martha Karua, who is actually a person from Mount Kenya, it's taken Gachagua building her up for her to start being able to come to Mount Kenya by herself. Gachagua wanted Matiang'i to go to Kisii, to move away completely from whatever attraction Mount Kenya have with him, go and take care of his Kisiis and come with them to the table and leave Mount Kenya for Gachagua. Matiang'i has refused to listen. So Gachagua is threatened by Matiang'i because Matiang'i is encroaching into what he thinks is his exclusive domain for political activity. Gachagua spent a lot of effort over the last 1 year inciting Mount Kenya against William Ruto, because William Ruto is the only other person who could bring himself to Mount Kenya, right? And he turned the region against William Ruto. He incited the region. He lied a lot about stuff. When you listen to him saying nothing is being done in Mount Kenya, nothing is being done. He says people are being fired. Mount Kenya people are being fired from office. No projects are going on. Honestly, you can fight Ruto for many things. But if you come to Nyeri every day or every week. The dual carriage is being done, and it could have stopped. Of course, it was started by William Ruto. It could have, by Uhuru Kenyatta. It could have been stopped by William Ruto when he took over. It's continuing. The only part that has actually not been dual right now is Karatina. So, and there are people working every day when you're there. So really, you can't say that nothing is happening in Mount Kenya. No projects have been done by government in Mount Kenya. That is a lie. But Gachagua is saying it because he needs Mount Kenya to hate Ruto completely for his own sake. Because once Mount Kenya hates Ruto, he can then carve out Mount Kenya and close it up from Ruto coming into Mount Kenya to eat into any part of that vote. So that the vote as it is, the 7 million as he keeps talking about, is exclusively his. And he was starting to succeed. He had really turned people against William Ruto. Then a curveball comes. First, Matiang'i refuses to listen to his advice to start from home. He refuses to listen to his advice to have his own small party. Then Matiang'i goes and comes as a protege of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, a man Mount Kenya respects, regrets not listening to, and somebody who, as much as Gachagua has tried to reconcile with, somehow it's not working, it's not gelling. So now Gachagua has to deal with a Matiang'i, first, who by himself is attractive to Mount Kenya, then is associated with Uhuru Kenyatta, who is even more attractive to Mount Kenya and still the regional kingpin, if you were to say that, and who is not aligned with Gachagua. But Gachagua doesn't want to attack Matiang'i directly, so he's going to keep throwing those two jabs. Kuna watu wanangojea tu waletee kura, kuna watu wanaweka posters kwa mtandao akifikiria hiyo ndio itafanya akuwe president. Paka you wonder, why would you be advising and worried about people who are running against you? So you do your thing and they do theirs and they fail and you succeed. But it's because he can see. And I can't wait for when we hit the ground as Jubilee Party with Matiang'i, because we will hit the ground. Relax, tulia boli, tunakam, tuna dojo, vibaya sana. We will be in the region, and this scares Gachagua. A couple of things. One, you can be sure the people who will come to listen to Matiang'i will be a lot more than the people who go to listen to Gachagua. So that's by perception, because Gachagua is so fixated on perception. The crowd size, if you look at the pictures that he puts on his online pages, they're always taken in a way that the crowds look large. But that's what I do for a living. So I can tell you, they're not large crowds. But he knows Matiang'i will have crowds like this. Matiang'i will have access to resources Gachagua doesn't have. It's in the government's interest for Gachagua not to be the only person in charge of the region. So there'll be some subtle space created. Because once you start removing the region away from Gachagua, this stranglehold he's wanted to have over the region, then a lot of other candidates can come by themselves, including William Ruto. And that annoys and agitates and scares Gachagua. That is his problem with Matiang'i. It's going to get worse. Because Matiang'i hasn't even begun doing anything. He's not even officially a candidate of Jubilee. He's just a member of Jubilee. We're coming, Gachagua. Relax.